Good morning, Philadelphia. The Eagles may have built one of the most explosive offenses in the entire NFL. With Saquon Barkley, A.J. Brown, Hollywood Brown, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, dominating the middle of the field. Jalen Hurts running the whole thing. The Eagles' offense is about to explode. But first, our captain, Jalen Hurts, is hanging out with Tom Brady again, coaching the flag football game today. Let's hear how much Tom Brady loves Hurts.
Whatever you want, you're the boss.
What do you think? I'm sure the press will want to ask. So how are you feeling out there? You look dialed in. You look good. You look 2011 Tom to rock.
I don't know about that, but we're certainly having a lot of fun. And I think being out on the field and getting to play with Jalen a little bit and talk on the bus and get out there in the field and work with Sean is just the exciting part for me. So yeah, it's going to be competitive. I think we got tough competition down there at the end of the aisle, but we're going to be prepared with 2 really good days and understanding the game. There's some different challenges for us, but in a short period of time, I think we made a lot of progress.
Jalen, describe a practice for me. Paint the picture of a Tom Brady practice.
Yeah, I think it's just been very intense and competitive. I mean, we've got great guys on our team all throughout the roster, led by a great coach. It's been really good. It's been really good. I mean, teaching the game, breaking down the game, talking through what we want to do, and everybody having a common mindset of going out there and winning.
Coach?
How about our quarterback? How about our quarterback? I'm your quarterback. He's a stud. He is a stud. I knew he was going to play that way. I knew it. Don't doubt him. All he does
I'm
is win.
BirdGang 31 and I'm fly like an eagle. Hit him low, hit him high like the Eagles. Catch me on a podcast and we only talking Eagles. Dallas still sucks and ain't nothing like the Eagles. I'm one O-line, Jalen Hurts top 5. Run it like Saquon, like I'm down Queen. Always open AJ, touchdown, say. Strap him up like the Jean, sack him up, Zach Mom. On the road to victory, yeah. We gon' watch all Eagles fly. Hit him low, hit him high. Hit him low, hit him low, hit him high. We gon' hit him low, we gon' hit him high. We gon' hit him low, we gon' hit him high. We gon' hit him low, we gon' hit him high. We gon' BirdGang 31 is a host, man. Bringing Eagles to your door like the postman. Make some noise if you a real Birds fan. Make some noise if you a real Hurts fan. Yeah.
Good morning, Philadelphia. How's everybody doing today? Good morning, everybody. Sorry it was a little late this morning. BirdGang had some computer technical difficulties. I had to get through a little bit there, but I'm here, talk some birds. Today, I really wanted to go over, this new offense. We've been talking a lot about the defense, players leaving, A.J. Brown, but no one's really talked about, the offense and what it's projected to be this year and why Howie Roseman's doing some of the moves that he's making to really make this offense that, none of us know exactly what it's going to be, but I'm sure it's going to be something exciting. Jalen Hurts is excited about it. Lane Johnson's excited about it. Everybody's excited about it. So hopefully, we're going to go over the skill position players today, to let everybody give you guys my take on how I think this offense could be, but first I brought an old friend, one of the guys I started with. You guys know and love him. It's Mr. AK Eagles Uncensored himself, man. What's up, buddy?
What's up, man? How you doing? Been a long time.
Been a minute, brother. Been a minute. How you been, my guy?
It's been going, dude. Life. Can't complain.
Life be lifing sometimes, they say. Life be lifing.
Yep.
But yeah, man. It's been a while. How you feel the Eagles are doing so far this off season. How you like with some of the moves before we get into some topics here. How you feeling right now about this team?
Sorry. No, it's going good, man. I've expected what has happened to happen. I know some of the moves that have been made, and we don't necessarily like as Eagle fans, but they were necessary losses. I think we all kind of figured Nakobe Dean was going to leave when we drafted Campbell. Can't keep everyone. We would like to, but we can't. And Makumba, drafting him kind of, and also his progress last year before he got friendly fire taken out by Sidney Brown. He showed a lot of progress. So I think Makumba showing them steps kind of made it easier for them to get rid of Blankenship. So, just there was some losses there I expected, and then only have so much cap room. So Howie can only work with what he's got, and I think for what he's had, he's made some really nice moves this offseason to fill some holes, going into the draft.
Yeah, man. He's definitely did some things, you know what I'm saying? But I want to dive into this offensive side of the ball, and not just the negative side of it, We've been talking about A.J. Brown all offseason. Y'all know how I feel about A.J. I love A.J. A.J. wants to be here, but A.J. wants some yards too, and A.J. knows it's not going to be on this football team. And he loves the Patriots, Why wouldn't you, if you have an opportunity to push to become a number one, that's going to get force-fed the ball, on a team that has championship caliber capabilities, and it's your favorite team growing up as a kid? Why wouldn't you try to push that on? Why wouldn't you try to egg it on? So, but we're not gonna get too deep into the AJ. What's your take on the AJ before we even skim past it? We talked about it.
Listen, man, that AJ stuff is all y'all's stuff, and I'll let you guys have it. I haven't talked about it, and I don't really talk about it because, in all honesty, I'm so tired of hearing y'all talk about it. I don't need to, but I don't want to handcuff somebody. I only want players that want to be here.
Facts.
So I've never heard him say that he doesn't want to be here. I've never heard him say that he does. But realistically, I understand if we want anything to happen that we talk about today, you're going to need A.J. Brown, at least this year, But if you want to retool and move forward for the next 3 years after this year, then you're going to do whatever you got to do. Somebody gives you a nice place, I'm not going to sit here and tell you not to do it. You know what I mean? But I don't know, man. I hate this situation.
Are you saying right now, no, excuse me, sorry to cut you off, but are you saying no A.J. Brown this season, you think our offense is not, you don't think Smitty can be the number one?
No, I do think Smitty can be the number one. I just think with the time frame that we're sitting at right now, unless these guys already knew ultimately coming in that A.J. Brown wasn't going to be a part of it, I would assume that he's already a part of the plan. So taking him out of it kind of sets our OC back a little bit and everyone else back. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I would assume AJ is a part of the plan, but like I said, man, things can change. I don't think that he won't be. I think he will, but we'll see, man. This thing's definitely got blown out of proportion. A lot.
I don't know. I wouldn't necessarily say blown out of proportion because it's been going on for like 3 years now. You know what I'm saying? Like something that's consistent from a same player. All we can do is talk about it because he's bringing it onto himself. He's bringing attention onto himself. He had valid reasons to be mad last year. I'm not saying he didn't, but we also had valid reason as fans to be mad at him.
Oh, yeah.
And him being a captain on this football team, you got to act a little different than that. If you want to talk about good ball, you got to show up in big games. You know what I'm saying? Like we could have won that playoff game. He doesn't make these 3 drops. You know what I'm saying? But it's not all about
that's the one reason I said I've always respected T.O. Yeah, T.O. talked a lot, but I can tell you right now, I don't think I've ever remembered a time that T.O. didn't talk and didn't back it up.
Never.
So there's a difference there to where I've watched AJ talk, but I've also watched him drop footballs, whether they're on purpose or not. I've
Even
watched him.
playing half-ass, run blocking,
Yeah.
half-ass, not even helping your teammates up some games, just like pouting like a little diva.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Dude, I watched T.O. play on a broken leg 3 months after breaking it just to play football for us in a Super Bowl and have 126 yards receiving. So,
All that.
I mean, it is what it is, man. I know we'll be fine. My problem has never been lack of talent with this team. Even last year, the issues that we had, it has never been lack of talent with our players in this team.
Yeah.
So,
Benny Boom from Facebook says AJ should be part of the plans for this upcoming season. Or this upcoming season probably is what he meant to say. Like I said,
it should be. But
if AJ plays without the drama, I'm all for it. Like you said, if you don't want to be here, and I don't, like I said, it's not even really like, it's not an ego thing I'm saying. It's not about him being an egotistic receiver, really. It's more about he wants to be great, and he puts a lot of work into this. He has Super Bowl, he has All Pros, he has Pro Bowls. The only thing else you can get is like a Triple Crown to be considered the best receiver. And with the talent on this roster, it's not that this team doesn't want him or I don't want him. It's just talent on this roster. When you got to share the ball with so many heads, you're never going to get that many yards. You got close, 2 times, right? 1,400 yards. Like, that's good, my guy. That puts you top, 3, 4. And if that's not good enough for you, it's not that he doesn't get the ball. It's that, he's dominated since he's been on the Philadelphia Eagles. So it's like, I think it's just bigger goals, life goals. And if you got goals, and this one's just so happened to line up with being with your favorite team of all time, I think you let it rock. I think it's how we make the trade. We've seen what we got. We should be able to get a 1 and a 2, or 1 and a player, a good player at that. You know what I'm saying? Like, it may be a late round pick.
Well, listen, this is the way that I look at it. Okay. There are players out there who care about winning, who care about team play, who care about Super Bowls. And I'm not speaking on AJ. I'm speaking on just in general in the NFL. And then there are people that we classify AJ as where they only care more about personal stats. They only care about, personal things, and winning is one of them, but personal stats mean more than winning. That's what we classify. So I put Myles Garrett in that scenario. Most people would be like, what are you talking about? Dude, he chooses to stay on Cleveland. That is not an option that Myles can not get out of. He can leave Cleveland whenever he wants.
Yeah.
He chooses to be there. 1, because he is the main focal point in Cleveland. 2, he is the guy. He gets all the sacks. No one's competing with him. And 3, he just broke the sack record. Like, why would you not stay somewhere? Myles cares about winning, but he cares about personal stats more. Now,
the difference out of those two, I would say, is AJ has the personal stats. Like, he won a Super Bowl. That's the one thing Myles has not did. He had not won. Well, he's never.
And that's how you know it is a personal thing with him, and not a winning thing. Because not even winning a Super Bowl made him happy.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So that is how you know certain players. Like, for instance, I think Justin Jefferson and Jamar Chase would be grateful to be on our team. I think Mike Evans would be grateful to be on our team, because these guys have been on shitty franchises with, minimum winning, and they would like to win. You know what I'm saying? So take it for what you may, but yeah, no, he's definitely taking it for granted.
You said Hollywood Henderson before Devontae Smith for explosive. You guys know Devontae's part of that, my guy. I think it's time. I think it is, and I think that's the other part of it too. I think it's Smitty's time. How many more
you
years
said,
have?
You said Hollywood Henderson before Devontae Smith. Did you say that?
I think you're talking about in the beginning when I started the show.
Oh.
And I was listing off the names. But like I said, the other side of this is Devontae Smith. How many years are going to make him a number 2? You know, I understand the first year with almost 900 yards, broke the Eagles rookie record. Have so many dramatic catches, dramatic plays, but never been to an All-Pro, never been to a Pro Bowl, Super Bowl champion, 1,000 yards, what, twice or 3 times? It's like, when are you gonna? We can't keep him held back. He was the best player. Like he went through this to Alabama, where he had to good receivers ahead of him. He had to move up to become that time. And I think it's about that time. Some people say wait till next year, you know, but I'm like, why can't we do it this year? I think Devontae's earned it. He keeps his mouth shut. He goes to work. He'll always give it 150%. You know what I'm saying? And he's clutch as hell. You know, we all know his size doesn't matter no more. You know, he can dominate in the NFL. He's one of the best route runners in the NFL. And obviously, the more weapons, the better. But, you know, Philly, if they did something like this, they're going to go out there and draft it. You know, this draft has a lot of good receivers in it. And they're going to go get a couple young guys. I think Hollywood Brown is ready to, you know, recreate his career here in Philadelphia. He was hurt last year. And, you know, he got that Tyreek Hill speed over there. And we ain't never had no receiver like that can catch. You know, sorry, Wes. But, you know, that's something new to this offense, I think, that fans need to look out for. Jalen Hurts is one of the best deep ball throwers in the league. So Devontae can go deep. Hollywood can go deep. You get a nice young receiver. You got Dallas Goedert in the middle. I think we're going to see a lot more running back screens this year than we've ever seen over the last couple of years. So Saquon to be in the passing game and the running game. You know, and these are just speculations from the coaching tree, the Shanahan tree, that, you know, I really realized that should be exciting to see this year for this offense. But we don't even need to talk about the quarterback, but let's get into these running backs here in the Shanahan offense. Some of the best running backs have come out of the Shanahan McVay style offense. You know, some of the top guys would probably be like, you know, Aaron Jones, 500 scrimmage yards, 35 touchdowns. CMC over there in San Francisco, 50-plus touchdowns. You know, over 5,500 scrimmage yards. And then for the Rams, you got Cal Williams with 27 and 26 touchdowns. Like, those are some explosive backs coming out of the system, 3 different style backs, you know, and then you look at all those, only one of those guys you would probably say is better than Saquon Barkley, you know? And I don't even think he is, and that's CMC, because I still think Saquon's best.
You know, before we start, I just wanna put this out there. All right, I love this team. I love the players on this team. Okay, but I will say this: don't sit here and think that I'm not going into this season coming up skeptic. All that's great. Okay. And I know the things I've been hearing about Sean Mannion, how great he is, and all this and that. I understand. But dude, listen, you gotta show me you can talk the talk before you can walk the walk, and you gotta prove to me that you can do this. You know, we were fed a bunch of crap last year with KP, and it did not work out. We got fed a bunch of crap with Brian Johnson. It did not work out. I'm not going to sit here and just, you know, say that everything is going to be okay, man. This is another inexperienced coordinator. This is another inexperienced dude. I'm not, you know what I'm saying? I want to believe this is all going to be, you know, sunshine and rainbows, but I also know that there is a chance this can be ugly. You know what I'm saying, man? So this is, if we're going to talk about this, that's fine. But to me, this is hypothetical talk until he shows me he can do what these other coaches have done. You know what I mean? He has the weapons to do them. He just has to show me he can do it.
Obviously, he has the weapons on and off the field, I feel. You know?
Well, of course, yeah.
Obviously, is there. You know, down season for the Eagles is a division championship, 11-6. So one thing about the Philadelphia Eagles, it's not 100% the coaching. It's the talent, you know, at the end of the day. When you have the best offensive line, one of the best young defenses, the star, you know, one of the best receiving cores, best running back. It's kind of easy. When you're coaching a team like that, you just don't go in there and fuck it up. Be prepared. Understand, change. You basically got to understand the flow of a game and how to make adjustments. Because you got the talent. If you make the right adjustments in the flow of a game, you got the talent to do it. So some good coaches, which if you think about it, there's not that many great offensive minds in football. We got 32 teams, and I bet you can't name me more than 5, maybe 6 offensive coordinators that everybody talks about. You know what I'm saying? So this is a rare position. That's why there's only so many good teams in the NFL. You look at like 5, 6 elite teams every year. The rest of it, you got your good tier, and then you got the teams that did all right. You know what I'm saying? So I think him first time play calling, like you said, is a concern. But I liked how he bagged him up with like Grizzard, who has play called. You know what I'm saying? All these other guys that has called plays before in the NFL and have different mind seams. They got the all off season. It's not like something that's happened right before the season. Now they got all off season to really build. 6 months now to really build a good game plan to go in there together. And he just got to feel the game. Everybody's talking glowingly about him. It's definitely a different reaction from the players so far. With Jalen Hurts, giving them some praise about saying he likes some of the things that's going down right now. We didn't hear none of that with KP. You know what I'm saying? Lane Johnson saying being able to.
Now, see, this is where you're gonna hate me though. Same shit that was said about Nick when we hired him. Now, granted, yeah, we won a Super Bowl. We got
two Super Bowls.
Hey, I don't. You know what though? That's not the point. The point is, whenever he was hired as an offensive guru. Motherfucker doesn't even like to touch the offense. He doesn't even like to call plays. I'm sorry, you're not an offensive guru if you can't even figure out a fucking broken offense. Thanks. So all I'm saying is that we've been pitched many fucking times about things that were not true. These guys will blow smoke up your ass and make you feel a certain way just to make you feel that way. I'm not saying that's this case, but we have been here and down this road before. I'm just saying, man, I'm not going to sit here and have my doors blown off next year because I want to think hypothetically and positively. Like, dude, we did that last year, and a lot of us were caught off guard last year, were we not? A lot of us were upset. 11-5 or 11 wins, you win your division, and then you get blown out in the first round. Pretty pissed off group. Now, granted, I saw it coming weeks. I think everybody did. Weeks, But
I would say this playoff and 2 years ago playoff. I mean, both times we went 11-6 out of the last 4 years. Because we went 14-3, 11-6, 14-3, 11-6. Both of the two 11-6. Times you kind of felt it. Even when in the wins, you're like, this team needs to change some stuff. You know what I'm saying? But through that whole window, I think it's the biggest difference that matters the most. It's a different scheme. Even Stout's gone. Stout's been a part of that whole window too, where they taught the same run blocking scheme. They taught, what I'm saying? Like you were doing the same thing over and over again. And none of us since Nick Sirianni came has ever liked anything about his scheme. Like none of it.
You have to have some conviction in what you run. Okay. You're first and foremost, I have watched Jeff Stoutland go through 3 head coaches, and I have watched Jeff Stoutland's offensive run scheme work in each one, and that's starting with Chip Kelly, and we all hated that guy, but Chip Kelly made it work there. He made it work with Doug. Huh?
I said they put up numbers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Listen, as much as you hated Chip Kelly, the one thing you can say is the dude won. Yeah. He did. And he might have pushed our guys to the brink of war and breaking down to, where they hated him, but he won. It was weird. And then you have Doug Peterson who comes in and all Stoutland does is win with him. And now Nick, and up till this point, this year, Stout was proven that he can do it all. There's nothing in my mind that has ever once said that Stout was the weak part of this offense. Never. He's shown that he can do it with anyone. Okay. The only thing that I can say, man, is that is a major concern for me. How I will say that is probably the worst business I've seen Howie do in a long time. How he did Stout. I believe we can all say Stout was done dirty. Truly. All right. And I haven't seen Howie do something like that in a long time, man. So that right there shows me how much Howie thinks of Nick. If he's willing to throw a friendship and partnership like that away, but yeah, man, it's going to be interesting. I'm sorry, I don't mean to hold you up here, but
No.
It's just I only trust my head coach as far as I can throw him, even though he's got us to 2 Super Bowls. You know, in my opinion, Doug Peterson was a better head coach when it comes to football scheme and football knowledge than Nick. And that is honest God's truth. I would rather have Doug Peterson in the worst moments rather than Nick.
Because he coaches the offense, I think. Nick doesn't do nothing.
Exactly.
You know.
Yeah.
But the thing he is good at is what he's good at kind of is his weakness too. It's kind of like rah-rahing the players, getting them all riled up. But when things go downhill, he kind of, like you said, he froze last year. You don't ever, when you see this offensive coordinator, everybody's telling you he's trash. You don't go take the best coach in your staff and demote him to make the other guy feel better. You know, that was stupid. And then
don't sit up there in front of the whole world and say, whenever they say, hey, man, your offense is bad, are you going to take control? No. Don't, bro, the moment you said that instantly showed me as a fan, you are scared to call plays. You are scared. I guess we have torn him down the first 4 years of his coaching career so bad that he just doesn't want to touch the shit anymore. He's like, no, I've been down that road. I'm not going down that road. Let him do it. You know, that to me, listen, that's the one thing that I will say that I gave Dan Campbell respect for last year. When Dan Campbell saw his OC was really not, you know, handling the job well and wasn't doing what he wanted, Dan Campbell took over play calling last year. And he pretty much said, listen, I'm going to go down with the ship. It's going to sink or swim, but it's going to be me because it's my offense, right? It's my scheme. It's my players. I respected Dan for that. I probably would sit here more having respect for Nick Sirianni if he chose to go down with his ship last year and took over and did it himself. But the fact that you sat up there in front of the entire world and said you weren't going to touch anything, it took you till the last 4 weeks to do it, kind of lost my respect a little bit on that, man. Go down with your ship or don't do it at all. You know what I mean?
Yeah, don't do it at all for sure, because you let them down. You let us down. You know what I'm saying? You let us down. That's not cool.
And Doug Peterson did that one time and got fired. This dude gets away with it twice. That's kind of unfair to me. That's kind of uncool. Because whether you want to say it or not, he lost it in 2023.
Yeah, that's true too, yeah. And Nick, like, I'm not poo-pooing 100% on him because...
No, I'm not.
Because he has one. Back to like what we said too, it's like you just have a competent person in that office. When you have Shane Steichen, you know, who's the head coach of the Colts now, who calls plays over there. He made Daniel Jones look great again. You know what I'm saying? Like, you got good coaches in the right position. The talent here is well, and really last year, guys, if you want to keep 100% a buck, right? We want to get real on this. 11-6. If our offensive line stayed healthy all year, we easily 13-3 or 13-4. Easily. I can add 3 more games because the offensive line was really the number one problem we had last year. Lane was hurt. Dickerson was really, he hasn't been healthy since, he wasn't really healthy since the playoffs last year. Him or Jerky. Remember, at the end of the season, they were really struggling to even try to pull through. I remember one game, Landon started at center because Jerky was hurt, got hurt, and then Jerky came in the game because he was suited up and finished the game at center. And it's just like these guys were actually beat up. You went a long season, had a short off season. Landon had the surgery right before the season. We should have IR'd him until 4 or 5 weeks, then brought him back and then let him play. But we let him, be big Landon, the man that we love him to be, the crazy psycho that we love, and go out there and play football. But even like Kelsey said, he wasn't even playing very well. He wasn't even playing like 50% in the beginning of the season. He was trash. Start offensive lineman last year was trash because they were hurt. And I think
I will give you more wins with an O-line for sure. But as far as longevity into the postseason, I think it's almost the same. And the only reason that I say that, man, is it doesn't matter what kind of scheme that you have. Your players have to believe in what they're doing, truly. And you can't come in with a scheme and your players not believe in it and be successful. There was teams last year who had far worse records than us, that their offensive scheme and their offense looked better on TV and to the naked eye just because they believed in their offense more than what we did. We'll use an example. Would you not say there were times last year Dallas's offense looked a lot more capable moving down the field on defenses than ours?
Man, AK.
No, I'm serious. I'm serious.
The whole league. I'm saying the whole league. Every game I watch after our football game on Sundays.
And that's what I'm saying.
Do this.
And when we were watching, who had the better roster? We fucking did. But the point is, though, you look at Dallas, and there was times last year their offense, even though they won 6 games, their offense looked way more comfortable and way more sustainable during their drives than what we ever have the whole season. There was times that you could look and say the Giants' offense moved the ball a little better than us. There is times you can say the Saints, that Atlanta. Dude, there was times Atlanta looked way better than us last year.
Yeah.
None of these guys have players at the caliber that we have. And that was my concerning part last year. But that's what made Kellen Moore awesome. When you saw the first 5 weeks and how it went, our Super Bowl year, he saw what the issue was. He saw the problem, and he made adjustments right away to it. There was no adjustments last year. There was nothing that showed that you had compatible coaches at certain areas that could make the proper adjustments to get the best out of these players. I don't know if these guys can do that this year. And now that you also got rid of Stoutland on top of it all, you have I don't know if this new run game coordinator is going to be good. I know Stoutland was good. I watched Stoutland take 2 guys who were fucking trash to everyone and turn them into all pros, and Jordan Mailata and Mekhi Becton. Mekhi Becton ain't shit without Stoutland. He wasn't even after last year. You bring Mekhi Becton back here this year, the kid's still going to be shit because Stoutland's not here. Stoutland was the product of that.
You don't think you could be like, oh, Lane Johnson, Kelsey's still around the building, Mailata, like all these guys done so many years, I think can help marry that, situationship. They understand. They were trained. They were brought up by Stalin, so they know everything that it took and what he taught them that they used to teach other players around. So I think if anything, this is going to be more of everybody learning and coming to something not new because it's still football, but like I said, different zone plays. Outside's a lot more outside zone, like a lot more play action. It's like getting them to what we want them to be. It's to their benefit. Remember all the years we were just dropping back passing, they're backpedaling. We got these big ass linemen backpedaling all game. You wonder why they're getting hurt. Wonder why they're getting sacked and tired stuff. These guys should be moving forward and more of a play action style offensive wide zone that keeps these linemen moving like athletes that they are. You got an old rugby player. You got Lane Johnson. They like kicking out, move blocking, Landon Dickerson, getting him around, hitting people. Like I really feel like this is an offense that's not the Nick Sirianni. Because everybody don't realize from Nick to how Dougie P all the way back to Andy Reid. You know what I'm saying? Like all these guys like throwing the football. You know what I'm saying? They want to be known for the air raid offense, the best passing, have the best passing offense out there. They want to be able to throw the ball 40, 50 times. It's always a disappointment when they realize they can't do that. And we don't really have the offensive line to do that, or that even, for hell, I'm not saying Jalen can do it, but, I won't want him doing it personally. I want him to be able to use his legs and run the ball too for being a throw threat quarterback. We had Donovan McNabb, dual threat quarterback, big. You know what I'm saying? Like all these dual threat quarterbacks that you never really had to go to a drop back passer. Like we never drafted a Joe Burrow or nothing like that to come in here.
That's funny that you say that because I've always taken us to be a run first team with a
Yeah,
running back.
always been. And our line was always built up for that. That's the tough, gritty side of Philly. That's why we always have the best line. They're the biggest, most athletic linemen we can find. They can go out there, start molding them up, and they ran over people. They played bully ball. You know what I'm saying? They always play bully ball. Whenever they were hurt, we couldn't play bully ball. Guess what? Offense kind of sucked. It's happened before. It's not the first time. The only difference is this year, I feel like we were weak at the backup offensive line compared to remember when in 17. Think about it. We had, I think, Sam Mala came in that year. Via Bea came in that year. Not Via Bea. Vaitai came in that year. These guys.
Vaitai, yeah.
And what the hell? I feel like I'm missing the Australian dude. They end up going to Pittsburgh and being a star over there for
Sam Mullen.
Yeah, Sam Mullen. So we had guys back up the starters that did get hurt, and they played at a high level. You know what I'm saying? This year, I think we kind of got too comfortable. Stalin can mold everybody, anybody type thing. And I think the players really wanted to play. And sometimes giving in to the players, it's kind of hurts your team at the end of the day. Because every football player wants to play every down. Period. If you're really passionate about it, you love it, you want to play every down.
Yeah, but listen, man. No matter what, there was a disconnect somewhere. Whether it was from coach to coach, whether it was from player to coach, there was a disconnect somewhere because I have watched my backups step in before and just be fine. I mean, hell, dude, we won our first Super Bowl on some backups. We won our second Super Bowl with playing with some backups throughout the season. Like playing with backups is what we do, and that's not a problem. Like I said, your players have to have a little bit of belief in what you do. Your coaches have to have belief in the scheme and what you do. The run game coordinator and the pass game coordinator have to be on the same page for your offense to work. Sorry. If Jeff Stoutland is believing that the run game should be ran a certain way, and Kevin Patola was sitting here and he didn't believe in the way that Stoutland wanted to run the football, and their offenses didn't mesh together, you were going to have a shit show in the run game to begin with, and I believe that is what happened. I believe you had a disconnect with player and coaches with one another, and that is what happened. The team looked dysfunctional. Dude, you're talking about a team that is literally won the Super Bowl 8 months ago whenever we started the season last year.
Yeah.
This was not a team that you can just look at and be like, oh, it just bad coaches. No, it was bad everything.
Yeah. I'm not taking away blame from KP. I'm not taking away blame from all the different things. I'm just saying the main part to me was that just like if your defensive tackles are hurt,
for sure. And I'm not trying to just put it on KP. I'm not just trying to put it on AJ or Jalen or Nick or anyone. They all collectively sucked. Okay. Yeah. But there are main people I do look at and I do blame because of the positions of power and the positions that they are in on that field. The quarterback is always going to have to be the first one to be looked at. Every team is that way. It's always been that way, and that is the way it is. The head coach, the OC, and obviously the GM. I don't really talk about the defense because, listen, the defense was great last year. You can only expect these guys to hold on so long. Holy shit, they played 18 games straight, their asses off. They
No.
were bound to break eventually. You know what I mean? They were bound to, and they just broke in the playoffs, and there was nothing more that you could ask for. They did one hell of a job. You know, you can only win a game by scoring 14 points so many times and not scoring a single fucking point in the second half.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sorry, man. It was terrible. It was beyond belief. And I'm telling you right now, with the roster that we fucking had, if it was any other coach, he would have been fired. I'm
Facts.
sorry. I'm serious, bro, because that was just unacceptable. You can't have that much talent and be that shitty. And it was,
Yeah.
yeah.
But and like I said though, like I said to you, like, and we're just spoiled too as Eagle fans because again, teams would die for 11-6 record. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of teams that die to even be division champion. We went back to back. That's the first time in 2004? It's a long time ago, my guy.
Yeah.
That's something. We still our down season. We accomplished a lot.
Yeah, but see, I think we're so rough on it though, man, because we went our first 60 years shitty. Listen, I have lived through the 90s. I have lived through the early 2000s.
Yeah.
I am 40 years old. My birthday was yesterday. And I'm telling you, appreciate it. I have watched some very bad teams come through here.
Yes.
I have watched some very bad players come through here. I've watched some really great players come through here. Some fucking legends, man. And I'll tell you, we know what shitty teams are. We know how shitty players are. And when we're at the point where we're at, I don't ever want to go back there. So I'm sorry if I'm sorry if I speak my mind and tell you that something I don't like. Here's the thing. I'm only complaining and I'm only being negative because I want the best for my team. I'm not a player guy. Yeah, Jalen. I love Jalen. I love AJ. I love Devontae. I love Dallas. I love Saquon. But I root for this team first. Not the one on the back. If you're on this, I don't care who's on this team, as long as you're getting me W's and you want to be here. That's all I care about.
Facts. We love Donovan McNabb, Michael.
But I'm not going back to being shitty. Don't think
Cunningham. There's a lot of players we love throughout our time. I love Shady, even though he'd be weird sometimes. But ChatGPT said in this type of run scheme, because we do got to talk about. It's a one-cut explosive run game. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going to stretch the defense. The running back's got to have good vision. Saquon has great vision. It's one of those, like, pick your hole type defense. That makes it a lot harder on linebackers. Puts a lot of pressure on linebackers for sure in a defense like this. Because you run so much play action and boot off of it that you got to be a very disciplined linebacker not to get, killed in this. You think about some of the running backs. Like you said, Caffrey, Williams, Aaron Jones. You want to go 2 years ago when Saquon broke the record in the playoffs for most yards ever as a running back? Guess who was number 3 in rushing that year? Josh Jacobs from Green Bay. So there's been some monster running backs coming out of these type of systems that, is it the scheme? Is it the talent? He's had so many, like in that Sean McVay, that I found out all these guys really are under Shanahan tree. That's what it all starts out from. McVay's, all these guys. So instead of naming all of them, you can say the Shanahan tree. All these guys have, because Williams is a good running back, but he's not great. You put him on a team that don't have an offensive line or a good coordinator, I don't think Williams is rushing for as many yards as he gets, running back from the Rams. And sometimes, another running back in that same system plays a little bit better than him. Cormar at the end of last season. Blake. He started getting the ball a little bit more over there. So it's a system that helps out. What I heard from Lane was basically like he likes being able to stretch. He's not sitting there in a bubble. Boom, boom. He's actually moving, using his athletic abilities, using his weight, his momentum. You know what I'm saying? Like the things that are pluses for offensive linemen. And I think, with the guys we have, I think that, they say Saquon should be a great scheme fit. His cutback ability would be really key. Big play potential. He always, goal line threat. It says pass game upside. You're going to start seeing them probably get more screens, more Texas routes, more things people will want to see a running back do. They project him to have 1,600 plus total yards and 15 touchdown in a Shanahan style offense. So, and that's from Chad. So, I think that'd be pretty good if we see Saquon do something like that, somewhere in that range. That'd be good because, like they said, I think Saquon's one of the best cutting backs in the league right now, and his burst of speed can get him to that second and third level real quick.
Yeah, I got the pleasure to go to the Eagles Green Bay game this year in Green Bay, and it was really fun. It was an honor and a pleasure to go to Green Bay and see Lambeau Field, man. That place is beautiful, by the way. You ever get a chance to go, it's iconic, man. I think it might be the most beautiful stadium I've ever seen in my life.
I wanted to go last year to the Green Bay game.
Dude,
So
it is
next game, I forgot what it was.
Oh, it is fantastic. If you ever get the chance to go, I think it's the most beautiful venue I've ever seen. It truly is, man. Now listen, I'm a Mason guy. I love brickwork. The whole stadium is kind of brick and metal, so it's gorgeous, man. But I got to go see it, and I will say, man, I watched a lot of Green Bay games last year too because my stepson is a Green Bay fan, and they tend to get pass heavy at times, especially last year they did. That's not always a bad thing, but I will say when you got halfbacks like Josh Jacobs and Saquon Barkley, pass heavy is not always sometimes the best option, so it is truly all in how they use it, I do expect the offense to probably look more like Green Bay's did last year, but that makes me raise questions about that too.
Well, yeah, realize Green Bay hit the injury bug too. Like, remember Kraft, the tight end? I think this is going to be, like I said, that was the next position we're going to go was tight end. As this system produced tight ends like Travis Kelce, freaking Travis, what's the Kittle name? The Kittle from San Francisco. Kraft, Laporta. You know what I'm saying? Like, these are some really high-end tight ends that, now you look at Dallas Goedert being here. You got Calcaterra back, Mud that's going to be blocking. We just picked up one of them, like, project tight ends that, had a lot of athleticism. I really think if the Eagles were smart, they go out and somehow trade up for Sadiq. I just feel like something's telling me I always have one guy I want every year. And this year it is Sadiq from Oregon. You know what I'm saying? I think he'll be a perfect segue. You have him here with Goddard for a year. Alcantara basically be the third. Mud to come in for running downs. And Sadiq and freaking Hollywood Brown and Dallas Goedert. You could trade AJ then, I think. You can go ahead and trade AJ. Because now you have a big body presence that's athletic that can do things with the ball. So that would be my thing there. Tight ends love this type of scheme. They do more crossing routes. You see Kittle, most of his big plays are crossing route, deep crossers. You know what I'm saying? Where you see Kittle flying across the field, boom, either taking a hit or giving a hit or just being wide open, running for a touchdown. And like those are the plays from like San Francisco. Like, that's what you need to get Dallas Goedert. Like, you know what I'm saying? We need to see Goddard doing more things like that instead of these outs and 5-yard hitches and posting. You know what I'm saying? Like, we ran the most pitch routes in the NFL last year. You know what I'm saying? Like, who runs that many? That's insane. It's like you were trying to destroy. You remind me of Chick Kelly. You're trying to destroy our offense.
And you wonder why I worry. No, I understand what you mean, man. And in all honesty, Dallas, he was our only bright spot in a shitload of crap last year. Dallas always seemed to be the light when it got dark. He's always seemed like the only one doing his job last year, while everyone else just was kind of half-assing. Him and Smitty, man, they were the only two that seemed positive. If anyone deserved their money this past offseason. It is definitely Dallas. You know, say what you want about him, talk about his injuries, whatever. All the dude did this year is produce for us. So I thank him for that, you know.
This is what they predict him to do in a Shanahan type scheme.
Hey, I'm all good for that, you know.
75 plus, 850, 7 touchdowns plus. You know, the yaks, he'd be a high yak guy, which we all want him to be. Reliable target, he already's that. And then play action weapon, man. Like those are the
Listen, man, he better do good because I'll tell you what, he did really awesome in a shitty offense last year. If he goes to not do anything this year that's supposed to be a good offense, I'm going to worry a little bit. You know what I mean? So
Dallas scored all them touchdowns. Come on. 3 to 5 of those touchdowns were just shovel passes. Come on. They weren't really talented like in that. Like,
touchdown's a touchdown,
we
man.
can give anybody though.
You know how many touchdowns? You know how many touchdowns?
Give him a shovel pass in the middle of
Yeah,
the
but come on, how many times
I will say this.
get a shuffle pass?
One thing KP was good at was the red zone. We scored. We're the best red zone team in football. You know what I'm saying? Like we scored in the red zone.
No, for sure, man.
Easy plays, like you know, and that was just something that I feel like we were just so trying to be an anti-tush push type team.
You know how easy it is to be the best in the red zone when you're never fucking in the red zone? It's real easy to have a great percentage when you're never there.
We scored a lot of points. Yeah,
I mean, come on. If you're only in the red zone 10 times and you score 8 of those 10, yeah, it looks great, doesn't it?
Right?
Just saying.
Hey, goddammit, we were good. What are you talking about? He was a man in the red zone.
And listen,
I give him some credit, guy. He did something right.
And Fanatic is right here, man. Listen, I gotta give credit where credit is due. I understand that people have concerns and they should, but dude, this division is getting competitive again. You can say what you want about the Giants. The Giants have done a hell of a job this offseason. You know, I don't expect them to be a threat until about 2 more years, but they are working their way back there. You know what I mean?
I think the Giants. My hot take is the Giants going to come in second division behind us this year.
Yeah, it could possibly happen. You know, it's what
They had
Harbaugh
neighbors
brings
last
to
year.
the table, dude. If Harbaugh gets their morale up and has that chemistry and he can lift that locker room, dude, Jackson Dart's a really good quarterback. You know, he was accurate last year. Yeah, there was a lot of drop passes, but Jackson Dart has a really good arm. I'm a big fan of Cam Scatteraboo. I love that kid, man. Scatteraboo.
And they didn't have Neighbors the whole time. People forget about that.
And Neighbors was injured the whole year.
The whole year.
The whole year.
Remember what they did to us? Imagine if they had Neighbors that game. That would have probably been.
Imagine if they had Scatteraboo too, and he was in the second. Yeah, I'm just saying, man. The Giants are going to be pretty good.
They just got Darnell Mooney too. They just picked up Likely from the Ravens.
And
I wanted Likely. I was like, where gotta go? Give me Likely. Let's go.
And also they got the fullback Ricard from Baltimore. Like, dude, they got some really good weapons.
A fullback for Scatteraboo?
Right? And not just that, dude. He's a lineman almost. Ricard's like almost 300 pounds.
And you're telling me that our star
I'm just saying.
having shoulder surgery right now, and they got a fullback.
Right? I'm just saying, man.
He hit me another linebacker. Well, I think Trotter's Monday was gonna be all right. But
the Giants have made some really nice moves. The Washington's made some really nice moves this offseason, you know. Dallas is just Dallas. They do okay, you know. We'll see what they got. But no, man, it's
you know you guys aren't doing nothing until you get rid of Jerry or Dak or both. Dak is Tony Romo 2.0. Have all the stats in the world in garbage time. But when it comes time for the playoffs for you to be this guy, everybody's like, oh, look at those 5,000-yard passer. You choke in the worst way possible.
No, I will say this, though. I will
Missing
give.
all the money.
I will say this though. I will give Dak credit. He overachieved for where he was drafted, but he underachieved for the talent that the kid has.
Was he a second rounder?
He was fourth.
Dak was?
Dak was a 4th round pick.
I
Yes.
thought that year Carson was first.
No, it was Saquon was second. They took Saquon with the 2nd overall pick, and then they took Dak Prescott with the 4th round, whatever he was. But that's what I'm saying. He was a 4th round pick, man. Say what you want about the guy. He overachieved for his draft, but Dak was so talented, man, coming out of college.
I'm not saying he's not talented.
Still. So he underachieved for how talented he was.
And truth be told, I wanted Dak the year we drafted Carson Wentz.
No, in all honesty, I actually wanted to do what Dallas did. I wanted to actually take Saquon second and take Dak later because I actually like Dak coming out of college. But hey, we went with Wentz, and it is what it is. But
we won a Super Bowl, so Dak's never touched the second or division game. So it's a team sport, I know, but sometimes you gotta be the quarterback to put a.
He would have touched it though on this team.
Yeah,
I mean, that's what I'm saying.
He probably would still be the quarterback right now. We probably would have won a couple of Super Bowls.
Yeah.
And that's what you just say.
Hey, I'll give you a hot take real quick since we're talking all this crap right now. I'm going to tell you this. Call me crazy, and I'll even take my crow if I have to. Brock Purdy's going to be MVP this year.
No, don't go.
Do you want to know why?
Don't go there, my guy.
Listen. Do you want to know why? No, listen. Do you want to know why?
Yeah, go ahead. I would love
to
feel that way.
Mike Evans. Only reason why. As long bearing Mike Evans stays healthy.
The other receiver.
I don't fucking care about that. Mike Evans is the only. Bro,
it's not a one. Somebody else on that other side. Sure.
Think about all the quarterbacks Mike Evans had. And he was 1,000-yard receiver every year for 11 years straight. 12 years straight, actually. 11 or 12 years up until last year when he was injured. And this was the first year he's actually ever been injured extensively where he's missed time. He had Josh Johnson. Anybody remember who Josh Johnson is? Mike Glennon. Remember Long Neck Glennon? Yeah. He had Mike Glennon. He made Jameis Winston. Truly.
I'll give Jameis some love.
Dude, Brock Purdy is in the conversation of MVP almost every single year. Say what you want about the kid for being the last pick in the draft. He's pretty fucking awesome. I give him that. Just because of that. You just gave him Mike fucking Glennon, the only person since Jerry Rice to put up consecutive 1,000-yard seasons 11 years in a row.
That is boss.
I'm telling you right now, if Mike Evans is healthy all year long, Brock Purdy is going to win MVP. I didn't say Super Bowl. I said MVP.
How about this? You say Brock Purdy will be a Pro Bowler.
What?
Will be a Pro Bowler. Let's start there.
No, he'll be an MVP.
Maybe second team in my pro. Jalen Hurts is about to be the MVP. You're talking about this offensive system. You're talking about that Brock Purdy can go execute. We're about to have that system in Philly, my guy. And we got AJ even till we're down. We got Davante. We got Hollywood Brown.
Like I said, man, we will talk about it. We will talk about it when they prove to me they can do that. All right. Listen, Mannion has not proved.
4,000 yards.
It's not. I've told you. It's not about. It's not about our players. I've already told you this. This has nothing to do with our players. Sean Mannion has not proved to me that he's Kyle Shanahan, and until he proves to me he's Kyle Shanahan, I'm not giving him that title.
Do you think Brock Purdy really has the skills, or do you think it's the Shanahan offense that gets these receivers wide open and it makes it easier for him?
I can't take it. I can't.
Hollywood Brown's gonna love Philadelphia.
Listen,
Think
I
about
can't.
Quez Watkins right now could be one of the greatest receivers in Eagles history if he knew how to catch. You know how many
Listen,
times we went deep to Quez? And actually, remember that one he had what? It was like 100 yards or 90 yards reception in San Francisco that year. And we're like, oh, Quez, that's what we were waiting for. And we wanted more of it, but he couldn't. I feel like Hollywood Brown is on a mission, 1 year deal, play it, prove it deal. He's about to light this thing up. They were talking about receivers. Where's the receivers that dominated in these type of system? Like, what my receiver was going? They're going with. They said Tyreek Hill, obviously, 7,000 plus passing yards, 50 plus touchdowns. Averaging 14 yards per catch. 40. Huge plays, 40-yard plus plays. Debo Samuels, which is another guy you think. I don't really like Debo like that, but if AJ go, I would see him, Hollywood Brown, and Devontae Smith putting in some
this
work.
fanatic guy really don't like Hollywood Brown.
What do you say about Hollywood? I mean,
He's
Hollywood Glass Brown. Well, he was hurt. I
They
don't think
don't like
he was hurt last year.
Hollywood Brown.
No, last year he
listen.
played 16 games.
Listen, I get it. Dotson was better. Listen, that's.
I don't know about that.
No,
Where's it at?
I can.
This is what they projected. Inside an offense like this, how he's a fit, the deep threat target, which I think is going to be the biggest thing. Like I said, Watson could have been the best guy because he had multiple plays where he could have made these plays. And I think you seen Hollywood Brown last year do toe touches. You know what I'm saying? He had like 39 receptions, 500 yards, 5 touchdowns. They think he's going to be a great deep threat player to play, making abilities. He's going to be very explosive. He wants to show that explosiveness again. He might not run a 4.2, but he might run a 4.3, 4.4 now, which is still one of the fastest. And yards after the catches. Imagine scheming up a guy with that kind of speed. If you watch his highlights, did I put some Hollywood Brown highlights on here? Let's look at Hollywood Brown here a little bit. Hold on, let's see it.
Hollywood Brown in motion. He's got on the pop pass. Hollywood Brown to the end zone. Touchdown, KC. Now going for the deep ball. He's open. It's Hollywood.
The guy, I just showed you like 3 different ways you can use him, all in 3 videos, 3 clips. Those are the reason why I got those 3 clips is 1, running the ball, because he's that gadget type receiver too, because of his speed. The deep ball over the middle. That last touchdown, he was backpedaling. If Mahomes would have seen it earlier, it would have been an easy touchdown. He was backpedaling into the end zone.
You're good. I give you that. Listen, I love your enthusiasm. Now I will talk those numbers if AJ is not here. Those numbers Hollywood Brown had last year. One, that was on a team that had no wide receivers. Hollywood Brown literally could play in, Kansas City last year. Anyone could have. Held me and you.
Came back. Rice came back last year. Juju was
but we're talking about
all the OGs from the championship run. My God,
I know.
Juju.
You can't sit there and tell
me. You have Travis Kelce, the best. Well, Travis.
I know, but you can't tell me Mahomes wouldn't have wanted better wide receivers, man. I think any one of us would have agreed with that. Now, here's the thing, though. You're putting him on a team right now with AJ and Smitty. Dotson last year, I think, had 54 targets all year long. And Dotson, I agree with Fanatic. I do think Dotson's better than Hollywood Brown. I do. But I will say this. I'm only expecting.
Y'all act like he won the receiver award, #1 draft pick.
That's okay. We'll see what Dotson has this year. He went on to another team.
Guys,
I
think they're where they're at in their career right now. I would put them at par. And neither one of them.
And that's fine. They're
doing anything.
I just expect Hollywood to have a very minimum role if AJ is here, and I only expect him maybe to get 54 targets all year long. And if that's the case, the kid's not hitting 1,300 yards. You know,
I think
he might get 600 or 700 yards if he's lucky. If you know what I mean,
a high average. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what you really need. Think about this though. Even like Deshaun Jackson was one of our best Eagle receivers ever. Deshaun really didn't ever have that many receptions in the year. You know, it wasn't a reception thing. Deshaun can go toe the whole game and have 2 80-yard bombs, and now you got 160 yards. You know what I'm saying? Like, and that's what you got to realize with a guy like him. It's not about how many receptions. He don't
usually our bombs are AJ. They're no one else.
Huh?
Now and then Smitty will get a long ball, but most of the time our long balls go to AJ, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
Listen, if you're using the Hollywood Brown as a decoy, that's perfect. That's cool. That is a weapon. Listen, do you know how important having him out there just running streaks, not throwing to him is? That's very important. If that's the way you use him, that's the way that's his role. It is what it is. I'm cool with that, as long as he does it.
But I still think the big play capability can put up some numbers.
100%.
We can go.
I'll tell you what. I think Hollywood Brown has better hands than Quez Watkins.
Oh yeah. And in terms of Hollywood Brown got more speed than anybody we've ever had. You know what I'm saying? Like that's why Quez. Even you remember Nick was always keeping Quez on the team because he was so fast that it helped out those years that AJ had 1,400 yards, Devontae had 1,000 and some yards. Quez that first year, Quez was still stretching the field, and that's helped them because, like you said, all the other new stuff you gotta respect the speed. But I also like just for having better hands that makes him more dangerous. Because, like we said, we just like 20 plays we can think of Quez Watkins being wide open, either slowed up, didn't catch the ball, you know, or just didn't catch the ball. Period. You know what I'm saying? That cost us game or could have made a difference in the game. And if you have a reliable guy like him, like obviously he's not going to be, again, we're not going to say, I really want us to go. Like I kind of do push towards to let AJ go because if you want that kind of attention, I think our offense always worked better. Think of the year Carson was MVP, 4,000 yards, but he had 5 receivers with 500 yards, spreading the ball out. You know what I'm saying? Smitty doesn't care about being yards, so he just wants to play and be involved in the game. You get a couple more of these receivers out there, you know, Cooper, you know, over here. Everybody wants to see him play. I think him coming in as a 3 battling with like a rookie or maybe pick up another receiver. And then you got outside because Hollywood plays outside and inside. He's not just a slot receiver. He can do both. You got him and Smitty and Goddard. And like I said, if you can get a guy like Sadiq, those Goddard and Sadiq dominating in the middle, woo, man, I'm telling you. Because you got to realize, think about Tampa Bay, right? Just think about Goddard, right? Think about Tampa Bay. Whenever we played Tampa Bay, besides the last time we played before that, we hated playing Tampa. They beat us in the playoffs every year because what? Baker Mayfield got the ball out real fast. You know what I'm saying? Like, we had the best defensive line in the league and couldn't even get a sack on it. You know what I'm saying? We're so mad because that style offense was like boom, boom, boom. When Tom Brady got there, they won a Super Bowl because it's like boom, boom, boom. Jalen Hurts is with Tom Brady as we speak. I'm pretty sure Tom Brady is filling them in on how to perfect this stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like they find ways to hang out. They find ways to really. Tom Brady loves Jalen. You know what I'm saying? They're like cool buddies, and I believe that greatness that Jalen has inside him will come out this year. You know, last year everybody put on Jalen, but Jalen had the most touchdowns he's ever played. You know, overall, I think he had a high percentage too as well. Really good in the red zone for sure. But at the end of the day, man, I think that this can be like that boom, boom. Like you said, those years that Mike Evans had 1,000 yards, they also had, what's his name, Godwin with 1,000 yards over there. They've had some good tight ends go through there too as well. They've made young players like, what's the name, Ibuka from last year? No one even knew.
Yeah, but I mean, we're
lighting up until
we're talking. Godwin's only been there for like 6 or 7 years. Mike Evans was doing it well before that.
Oh yeah. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm just saying they're both good receivers.
Oh yeah, no, they are.
The main thing, they're both getting schemed open. You know what I'm saying? They're both getting schemed open. Like I said, AJ can still come here and be an All-Pro. He might not.
I will say this, man.
But I think he'll still be able to be an All-Pro, Pro Bowl, Super Bowl champion. So If you're not, that first one didn't fulfill your need, maybe come back and try to get the second one. Play hard this year and get the second one. Because the second one might make you feel a little bit better. Because if you're a receiver walking around with the yards that you already have and the accolades you already have with multiple of these on your finger, buddy, you're going to the Hall of Fame. Okay? Sit back, your jacket's on the way. So
I
get your
will
mind
say, I do believe that, this team needs to get back in and definitely work and improve. And I will say that, our quarterback is one of them. I love Jalen to death, but there was some things last year I think we all as Eagle fans can agree on he needs to clean up. And it's okay to criticize him because as much as he preaches excellence, I expect it.
He needed to run more last year, I feel like. That's one thing.
Well, and also stay. Listen, the one thing that we can agree on that as Eagle fans that we saw last year that we haven't seen the previous 2 years until now, and I'm pretty sure it has to do with comfortability and being, comfortable in the scheme. He escaped a clean pocket a lot last year. That was something he hasn't done until, his rookie and his second year. And then he cleaned it up. And last year he kind of reverted back to that for the first time in a while.
I think he lost faith in that side. You got to think that was the side, the backside. The backside, I think he just lost faith in the backside early.
Yeah, no, and that's why I said, but
now, and plus my a lot of stuff. He even came out and said he sucked, especially at the beginning of the season last year. He wasn't playing nowhere near the All-Pro level he's playing.
I know, man, but you still got to admit though that you still have to admit though that he was leaving. He was still doing.
He did leave early. He hasn't.
And that's all I'm saying, man. Is we have to be able to nitpick our players, and it's not hating on them. It's just wanting them to get better. And for a team that preaches excellence and a team that preaches technique, as much as they do it, I expect it when that time comes. So if you don't do it, I'm gonna say something. I mean, it's their motto, is it not? So that's all I'm saying is we have everything in front of us.
Because if you look at it, it's like a well-oiled machine.
Mm-hmm.
One bad part and that machine don't work no more. You know what I'm saying? One bad part, and I think every single game is part of the machine. From the coaching to the players to this, that, whatever. You know what I'm saying? Even the defense, they were great, but they still had bad games too. You know what I'm saying? Like Big Banjo wasn't perfect last year. He was great, but he wasn't perfect last year. Stalin definitely wasn't with that run game. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot. Everybody has a piece of the pie.
Well, did he really have a chance though after only 5 weeks? Did he really have a chance? Yeah. Do you consider 5 weeks a chance?
Good morning.
But
yeah, we'll see. Like I said, I'm excited. They're projecting my boy Hollywood Brown to really have a good season this year too. They projected all these guys to have a good season. I think, the number one thing of why Chip Kelly won early, why Dougie P won early, why Nick Sirianni's won early. The one thing that's consistent was new offense. Chip Kelly won early. He didn't win a chip or nothing, but he won early in his new scheme. Dougie P, when he came in, he brought something different. He won early, went to Super, won that thing. Then, because you got to realize when you win, though, people don't realize when you actually win, it's different from being like the Bills that go to the playoffs, not, great teams and not winning it. All these teams that are really good that just don't win championships, the Ravens, you know what I'm saying, like Pittsburgh, they won a couple. But, the good teams out there that, just can't get over the hump, more recently. Like, it's the same thing where they're good enough. But if you win a chip, now you actually have the blueprint of how you won the chip. So you have to. Belichick was a genius because Belichick changed defenses whenever he wanted to. He changed his offensive coordinators whenever he wanted to. They changed players, from a Randy Moss where you throw the ball to only Randy Moss all year, you break records, to Wes Welkers where you got all these little, Amendolas where you just got all these little doom, to the Gronkowski and what to do.
I've
name it.
never seen a guy make a career off everyone's sloppy seconds, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy. No, but I will say this. I think you're on to something there, especially whenever we're talking like Bill Belichick, you know. I honestly think that what makes a really, really good head coach is being able to motivate your players year in and year out. You know, for some reason, somehow, some way, you know, you look at all of these great coaches over the years. It didn't matter if they were in year 10. It didn't matter if they were in year 16. They always had a way to motivate their guys to get the best out of them. You know, and I think that might be a little something that, you know, like for instance, Doug EP and Nick and even Andy when you're 14 here is eventually there is a time in these coaches' careers where with that one team, they just stop being able to motivate their players. You know, they lose on how to motivate the guys to play each and every year. And I think that was something that separated Bill from a lot of other head coaches. You know, there's only a very few limited head coaches who can motivate each year in and out. You know,
Get them over
it's
the
hard.
hump. You know,
Yeah, it's hard, man. It's hard.
Players
I mean, imagine how many speeches you have to come up with every year to motivate your guys. It can't be easy, you know.
But even like our team, though. But even like our team, just since 2000s having so much success, that's why the younger Eagle Nation, they only know it's good, like you said. They only know good Eagles. You know what I'm saying? So they're spoiled. They want to see more. 2 championships is not enough. Like you said, we old school. You know
Bro, we've seen 0-16 teams.
80s, baby, my guy. And in the 80s, you know, it took me to 33 before I seen the Eagles Super Bowl win. Goddamn.
Bro, we have seen
2-1, you know.
Dude, we have seen 0-16 teams. We have seen 3-14 teams. You know, we know what ugly is. We've been there.
Passion was always the defense, man. Defense is always when we didn't have good offense. At least we had a defense that won some games for us. We can get excited. You know, we were.
I just feel bad we never got the win for Dawkins, man. In all honesty, I mean, if there was one Eagle out there who deserves it, it is Brian Dawkins. You know, so that's the only thing that I regret, not being able to win one for him. Other than that, is what it is.
So, guys, basically, you know, I do. Hey, thank you again. You guys hit that like, hit that subscribe. This is something new, so I know everybody's not alerted to it. Like you've seen some guests earlier. I want to start this show. Good morning, BirdGang. You know, to get up early and talk with you guys. Start at another time where, you know, there's not very many people on. We can sit here. We can all enjoy each other and talk some good football. You know, hang out with you guys and chat, whatnot. But basically what I'm just saying, you know, with the new, what's supposed to be new for our team is going to be a lot more motioning. You know, a lot more better formations, screen plays, zone runs, outside one-cut type situation where you're going to get these guys in open space. You're going to get Jalen Hurts a lot more on a move where he can use his dual threat. He doesn't have to throw the ball. He can run the ball if he wants to. You know, we can play the game that we all want to see Jalen Hurts play. We want to see this offense do. So we're not sitting there on Sunday. You know, this is what he's trying to create. I trust Howie Roseman at this point. He's gotten embarrassed last year. You know,
You're a little surprised by the Andy Dalton move?
No, because I feel like this is the time you can trade McKee. Because you don't want to, you know, McKee only
but it's Andy Dalton.
Played 3 times, you know. I don't ever really worry about the backup. Andy Dalton knows the system, so he can, you know, help coach the system because he kind of played in the system before. And he sucks. Yeah, I'm not saying Andy Dalton. They're really right.
No, and it wasn't that. It's just, dude, he doesn't fit what we're doing.
But
like,
listen,
and I understand what you mean. Like, he
still
knows
got
the
McCoy,
system, but he don't fit the system.
McCord still, is that his name? The third string from last year?
Kyle McCord.
Yeah, he's still on the team. Maybe you like what he's doing a little bit. You probably draft another quarterback sometime. There's a couple late round quarterbacks that are good project picks you can put back.
I know, but this really feels like a Josh McGowan type thing. Because if
and Josh came in and won some games for us. Remember the playoffs? But he came in. He almost won it. You know what I'm saying?
Yo, first of all, but I could, but I could sit here and honestly tell you though, at this point in their career right now is having them both. I'm taking Josh McGowan over Andy Dalton right now. I will say what though.
That guy was better.
I will say this: Josh McGowan played one hell of a second half in that playoff game, man. I really was hoping he could pull it off because I was like, "Damn, bro,
it was close."
He played his ass off. Yeah, no, he played his ass off, man. That was cool.
McKee can be. I think McKee can be really successsul. I think when we seen everybody want to dog him, when we seen him play with starters, he's undefeated. I know it's only 2 games, but he's undefeated. Well, you got the backups in there. I think he played. That was a close game to the end. You know what I'm saying? Like,
what do we call successful, though? Let me ask that question, and that's God's honest question. What are we calling successful? Okay, are we talking Nick Foles' career?
If he goes to the right team, he can be a number 1. Yeah.
Are we talking to Nick Foles' career though?
No, better. McKee, I think he sat around long enough. He understands. I think he can be
in this offense.
In this offense.
I
think we're run first, so like it goes to that saying that we got the best quarterback possible for this type of offense that we want to run. With the line that we have, the run first mentality that we have. Yeah. If we didn't have no good running back, we have more pass blocking linemen instead of run blocking linemen, then maybe you can say different. Like
I don't know, man.
Who knows?
Listen, my only thing is I don't see what you guys see in Tanner. I'm not saying the kid's bad, and I'm not. Listen, we're talking about, dude, the era of quarterbacks that we have seen. You know what I mean? From Drew Brees.
When he played those games with the starters, you're talking about over 300 yards a game. Talking about 90% completion. Talking about perfect quarterback rating.
But we're also talking about the NFL. He's not going to have them forever. Hell, we don't even know. We're sitting here this morning saying we don't even know if AJ is going to be here this year. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I understand what you mean, but we're talking about Brett Favre we've watched and Ben Roethlisberger and Aaron Rodgers and Drew Brees and Phillip Rivers and. This guy has to be something in that area. I've never seen a area in Tanner McKee where he's going to be any of those guys I stated. You know what I mean? There's being good, but
I think, like you say, there's that uncertainty. We're still that uncertainty. We're not quite sure. Some people think high, some people think low. So we're not quite sure. I think you take them to the right team. Say a Pittsburgh Steelers. Like I heard that
he might thrive there. That's a very with DK and no, he might.
You know what I'm saying? You might see him thrive over there. Something like that.
But the odds are he falls.
You got to go to a good team. That's what I'm gonna say. Let's cut the bullshit. If he goes to a good team, with talent around him and a good offensive line, and they need a quarterback where their backup would not be like breathing down his neck to start. You know what I'm saying? Where you can have a backup that just be there in case he gets hurt, where you're going to actually have to ride him out because he's going to have some early games, bumps in the roads. I do think in the right situation, he could be a star.
And listen, I'm not one to count a quarterback out. While most people were here already writing off Sam Darnold, I was still saying and preaching that it was because he was on shitty teams and the Jets and stuff that it didn't work out. And look, he goes to Seattle, he wins the Super Bowl. I was sitting here and I always was preaching for Baker Mayfield that he's not a bad quarterback. And he had some bad stints, but now look, he planted his feet in Tampa and he's doing a really hell of a good job there. Some of these guys, it isn't them, and it's been proven now. Even Daniel Jones. Hey, Listen, man, I have sat here and gave him shit. Now, still, I don't
Danny food stamps.
listen. I don't think that he's still there yet. Okay, I'm probably more tough on Daniel Jones than all the other quarterbacks, but I still think that they are going to regret that one. Okay,
You gotta give me one more year. Stay
yeah.
healthy and give me a year. Do that again because we never.
I
thought
had to
we-
have Sam Darnold show me a second year, and Sam proved it.
Well, for me, Sam's been doing it now consistently. You think it
Yeah.
was 2 years in Minnesota, or was it 1 year? 1 or 2
1
years
year
in
in Minnesota, and
1 year,
now this year.
1 year here.
So listen, he had one good year last year with the Colts. Now, if you can give me another, now he did have an injury, so I can't put that on it. But you show me, you come back out again, and you can do what you did last year. Hey,
And I would never call you Danny Food Stamps ever again, live.
Right. Yeah, maybe it'll be White Vic from here on out. Maybe it'll be White Vic. I don't know. We'll see. But no, he there's something there. So I do believe that there is some success. But I can say this though too: Tanner McKee was not fucking Baker Mayfield coming out of college. Tanner McKee was not Sam Darnold coming out of college. You know what I mean? Like, these guys actually have a resume and something to stand behind. Who the fuck was Tanner McKee before he was an Eagle? You know what I mean? And the way we made him. That's my point with the whole thing. That's all I'm saying. I'm one for quarterbacks, bro, but they got to have something. I mean,
yeah, I got you.
I mean, even Shadur's an interesting one. I'm interested to see what Cleveland does there.
I want to see what he does this year. That's for sure. I want to see what
they're giving him the reins, so we're gonna see.
Mm-hmm. But hey, man, I gotta get out of here. Go to work, my guy.
No problem,
So to all you guys, happy birthday again, AJ. AK, and give us some of your final thoughts. Give something for Eagles fans to think about, as they continue the rest of their day to day.
Listen, this team is very well built, and I'm very excited to see what Howie does in the draft. I'm expecting O linemen and some secondary and defense. Definitely safety, definitely probably a tight end and some O linemen. Really love the Reek Wolin signing. Defense has every trajectory to be better than even last year. I thank you, Nina. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. They have everything in the making to be even better, probably even better than our Super Bowl winning season 2 years ago. Definitely a lockdown secondary. Like I said, man, only thing that I question, and it's not even in a negative way, is just
thank you, Neil. Love you.
It is just Mannion, and I think it is a reasonable question to ask, and I need to see it. I just need to see that he's capable to make in-game adjustments when it matters, instead of waiting until halftime. I need to make sure that he can actually call plays during a game and not, be one-dimensional like KP was. It's just uncertainties that need to be answered. But when it comes to talent with the team and everything, man, I have no question at all. You have everything on offense to be one of the best offenses in the NFL this year. You have everything on defense to be a top elite defense. So it is just all if everyone can put it together. If everyone can believe and everyone can do their job, there ain't a damn thing that will stop this team, But it all starts at the top, man. So we'll see how it goes.
It always starts with the man in the mirror.
Yes.
No one can beat the Eagles. It's been that way for years now. We beat ourselves.
Just don't let winning make you soft. That's all I ask as Eagle fans. Don't let winning make us soft.
Yeah.
Because having that edge as Eagle fans, having that grittiness is what made us to begin with.
Facts.
And I know winning makes people soft. Don't let it make us soft. That's all I ask.
Comfortable. I think that's what it is. Like I said, we're spoiled.
Yeah.
Last year, everybody flew off the handles, and all off season been talking about how trash we were. You know what I'm saying? This sucks. KP was trash. We still
Yeah.
won 11 games, my guy. There's like 17, 18 other teams that wish they could get 11 games. We still went back-to-back champions.
Yeah, but it's not winning. It's how you
got 1,000. Saquon still was the sixth leading rusher in the game. Dallas Goedert still broke the record for tight end touchdowns on the team. Like this was some stuff. There was some good stuff until last year.
Yeah, but it's not winning all the time.
The best
It's
quarterbacks in the league. Like, come on.
it's not winning though all the time. It's how you win.
Yeah.
Listen, we got 11 wins last year, but you could clearly see with your eyeballs it wasn't about winning, it was how we were winning.
Mm-hmm. As a chemistry
It's
was
how you were winning that should have made you concerned. It's not the fact that we were winning. It's great that we were winning. But the fact that you were just nail biting your way to those wins is what was the concerning part.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So this year it is how you win. If you come out and you're listen, you can win 21-14 and still be dominant. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's how you look when you do it. That's all I want to see is just that dominance. Like you said, I want to see that dominant defense fly around to the ball, attack. I want to see you offensively pushing people around, throwing linemen to the ground and watching Saquon run. You know, you show me that dominance, that changes a lot of things. There wasn't dominance last year. There was nothing that showed me they wanted it. You know what I mean? So that's how you win.
AJ was really bad about it. He wanted to feel like we were getting bullied. You know, we were letting defenses dictate our offense. And the talent of the roster, we should dictate every football game on offense.
Exactly.
No one defense in the NFL, no defense in the NFL have the talent, overall talent, to go one-on-one with all of us and man for man with us. And even when you double team, our second, third, and fourth option is still better than your first option.
Bro, when AJ Brown was out here getting beat by Rock Y'all fucking Sin, y'all should have panicked.
Mm-hmm.
Remember that game?
Mm-hmm.
Rock Y'all Sin. Listen, I get it. I love the kid coming out of college too. But he's never been anything in this league so far.
Right.
He was bullying and man-child handling A.J. Brown, just making him look stupid. That's when you should have panicked. Yeah. When the fuck was Rock Sin ever good enough to compete with A.J. Brown? Please, anyone tell me, I will win.
Anybody can compete.
He was manhandling this man.
Because he wasn't trying to.
Why I was panicking.
Mm-hmm. But hey, guys, I think, don't worry, guys. We got, 6 months, 5 months, something like that before the season starts. I think we still got the free agency again, second free agency. We still got the draft. I think right now where we stand is at a really good spot. I like the Pierce pickup. You know what I'm saying? I think the Pierce pickup is going to be another one, even though I think I want to see a little bit more Tank Diggsby. I think everybody wants to see a little bit more Figsby this year.
That was strictly for return man, dude.
Yes, he's going to be a return man.
Pearson or Damian Pearson.
Fabulous. I think the person that got to watch out is not Diggsby, but Shipley might have to watch out. You know what I'm saying? Because I do think he has put up his rookie year, 1,000 yards. You know what I'm saying? I think he made the Pro Bowl his rookie year. I think that's what it was. Or he put up 900 yards his rookie year. That's what it was. Rushing the football for the Texans. So I do think he has some ability to make big plays in case someone does get hurt. But hopefully, knock on wood, it doesn't happen. Like you said, it was to have more of an explosive return game, too. He's an explosive returner. He got that speed.
Yes.
He got that vision. So hopefully that helps. I'm tired of seeing Shipley. I'm tired of seeing Covey. I want a real returner out there that can actually change the field. I think we finally got one, too. So the offense looks good. This new system's going to bring a lot more new stuff. Regardless on if it works or not, what the plan is to bring more excitement in Philadelphia. And, bringing Hollywood Brown, I think that can help the situation, whether he busts or not. He's here now. It's too early to say he might not or might do anything. But as Eagle fans, that's what our job is to do. Hype him up. Overhype him up. If anybody's hyping him up, it's us. And guess what? He's a new deep threat on our team. He's going to catch 5 balls a game for 150 because he's going to get an 80-yard reception in there one game every single game. So Jalen Hurts' number is going to go up. Everybody's going to look good. We're going to be happy again. And I do think we're going to get another one of these. So sit back and let's just watch how his masterpiece that he's putting together ends up being. And, definitely get down with you some more, AK. You guys have a great rest of your day. Fly, Eagles, fly. And go Birds, and we out. Peace.
How about our quarterback? How about our quarterback? I'm your quarterback. He's a stud.